Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
what trend died so fast that you can hardly call it a trend? That moment when Google really tried to make Google Plus happen. All Google Plus did was show me that my dad comments on videos of Brazilian chicks shaking their ass. I remember Pornhub had a "share this video on Google Plus" button. Bitch, why would I want my friends, family, and coworkers to know I use Google Plus? Exclamation mark. They forced it onto everyone with a YouTube account. Nobody asked for it. Like how brain dead do you have to be this late in the digital age to realize people don't like new products forced onto them? Especially when it never solved a problem. And Google kept trying to make my name public. That really pissed me off. Like that time Apple forced a U2 album into our iTunes. I hated it and it ruined my shuffle. Remember that week everyone was into sea shanties for some reason. It wasn't even sea shanties in general. Just Wellerman. Barrett's Privateers https://u2.be/mqbh7ansizdc. Northwest Passage https://u2.be/xmrpytagal. Roll Northumbria https://u2.be/fk3wu5 jeepsay. Silly bands. I work retail at the time, and after they sold out, by the time we got stock in to replace them, no one wanted them anymore and they all got clearanced out. Probably because all the schools immediately banned them. Wow, I had an absolute armful of silly bands. My school didn't ban them. Why did some schools ban them? My school banned anything that had a trading economy, silly bands, trading cards, etc. I assume because some kids realized they made a poor trade later and the school didn't want to regulate it. I mean, it's pretty appropriate that as a trend flash mobs came out of nowhere and then immediately disappeared. Not gonna lie, I kinda liked the flash mob thing. I mean, some were dumb, but I thought the whole idea was pretty fun overall. I participated in one in like 2011. It wasn't anything wild, just a marketing stunt for a Seattle tour company. A couple hundred people got pink umbrellas in the alley behind Pike Place Market, assigned an area around the market to go to, and then everyone opened up the pink umbrellas at the same time and walked around with them for like 5 minutes. The good ones were awesome. The mediocre ones were bad. The bad ones were just embarrassing. The whole 3D craze back in like 2010. Everybody thought it was the future after Avatar came out in theaters. Every movie tried to be 3D after that. There were 3D TVs, 3D phones, the Nintendo 3DS. And I think the craze disappeared in like a year because it gave people headaches. I don't think headaches were the reason. Most of it was that it made movies look like shit. Too dark and everything looked like a toy. IRC, that was mostly because a lot of movies were retrofitted with 3D tech which darkened them and didn't look as good as films that were planned with 3D in mind, Avatar, or were fully animated anyways, Toy Story 3, How to Train Your Dragon. But 3D movies made more because the tickets cost more, so a bunch of films that weren't planned to have 3D tech had 3D slapped on them, which got poorly received, because of the lower quality, higher price, until it fizzled out. I will say that 3D, when it's planned and baked into the effects from the get-go, it can look really cool. But it's cheaper to convert it in post, so woman shrugging medium light skin tone. I was okay with that trend dying because I am someone who gets nauseous and headaches from 3D movies, so it never really appealed to me anyways. Force Awakens and How to Train Your Dragon were really cool to see with 3D, but it was still a slog to get through. It'll be back around 2040, it's on a 30-ish year cycle. They were big in the 50s and 80s too. Each generation needs to have their turn finding out how much 3D actually sucks. The summer of Pokémon Go was awesome. People were up and outside, walking around and getting exercise. Strangers met and talked, and for a brief moment, it was cool to be social. Then, if I remember right, an app update broke the game and it fell off wildly in popularity. Ironically, 4-ish years later we had COVID, social distancing, and spent all our time indoors. A complete polar opposite from that one wonderful summer of Pokémon Go. My son, now 22, and his GF still play. They actually used the game as an excuse to road trip to different places. They even went to a big meetup in NYC. I love that they are still involved and it gives them a reason to get out of the house and explore. On a vacation to France and Germany with my family, the kids and I played and had a lot of fun collecting foreign Pokémon. The UI on the app was also great at identifying and giving details for some more obscure tourist spots we wanted to find than Apple or Google Maps was. That game came out during the peak of my depression and most days it was the only thing that could get me to leave the house. As a bulky big guy, it was 10 p.m. in a park that was, for context, more than screaming distance away from anyone else, and a 17-year-old who apparently just got her license pulled up at the Pokestop and grabbed the same Pikachu as me, and I told her there was a Dragonite just up the other end off the park. In no other time in reality would that seem like a safe thing for her to do. I only thought about it afterwards that we were just two big kids playing a game and the evils of the world didn't exist. Remember planking, T-bowing, faith healing. Those heat-sensitive color changing to shirts that made it extra obvious when someone was a sweaty mess. Hypercolor. I think this was a wild month. The first 2 weeks, everybody at school had these awesome color-changing shirts that you could put handprints on and stuff. The last 2 weeks, everybody had these weird, bright orangish pink shirts that didn't do shit because all our moms put them in the dryer. NFTs. People still fall for it though, but now it seems it's more of an flex of disposable money for rich people. It's an excellent avenue for money laundering. Those crinkly popcorn shirts from the early 2000s. They look like doll clothes and stretched to human-sized when you put them on. I saw them inside a Walgreens the other day, I was so confused. I think those are coming back. Remember that month or so in the 90s when we were all listening to Gregorian chants? One of the best things about the 90s post-grunge that was it was kind of the Wild West. You could have the most random, niche shit blow up and become a mainstream hit. Not all of it was good or stood the test of time, but I wish the music industry was still willing to take risks. Swing Revival has entered the chat. Good old Enigma. All over MTV at the time. I bought the album too. Enigma slaps. I still listen to them. I only remember this because of that Pure Moods commercial that seemed to run during every commercial break on every basic cable channel for most of the 90s. The Benedictine monks of Santo Domingo were rock stars for a minute. Does the existence of the Segway count as a trend? My roommate in college had one in our third-floor walk-up. He claimed the stair assist feature it had was convenient. It did not look convenient. They really said it was the transportation of the future. I got married in December of 2013. Our wedding video will always have us dancing around like idiots to Gangnam Style. You know what? Good for you. Your videos show everyone having fun. OMG, Gangnam Style was the moment. It was literally a historical event. I dare say that nowadays still's popular though. I don't think this counts. Gangnam Style really introduced the world to K-pop, which has now exploded in popularity. Psy walked so BTS could run. Removed. I was able to buy fidget spinners in bulk for cheap that year. For Halloween, that's what I gave out to the trick-or-treaters. When they saw them and hearing their excitement, fidget spinners. No way! Exclamation mark quote. And then hearing them yell up and down the street to other trick-or-treaters, go to that house. They have fidget spinners. I love that memory so much. It was so much fun to see them get so excited. I have been trying to be that cool house again, but nothing compares to the year I was the fidget spinner house. Even when I do full-size candy bars, I am not as cool as the fidget spinner year. And street vendors were left with a massive stock they couldn't get rid of. Liz Truss as British Prime Minister. Let us never forget how quickly it took for her to leave office. It's pretty crazy how Vine died so quickly, especially given how successful TikTok has been. Vine didn't die, at least not naturally. It was murdered by Facebook. Facebook bought Vine and then immediately dismantled it. Edit, it was Twitter that bought Vine, not Facebook. I thought it was Twitter. Everyone claiming they were moving to Threads. I tried out Threads when it first launched. I hated that I couldn't have a feed of posts from accounts I actually follow. It was just random garbage from random accounts. I dropped it right after that. I want to be able to curate my own feed, not have it shovel-fed to me in its entirety by some shitty algorithm. I don't know what I have done to deserve this, but I just seem to have a Threads feed that is full of rageabait questions. And it's stupid stuff like, Apple users, why don't you just buy an Android? And, men, do you actually ever put the seat down? Type of brain-dead nonsense. I also hate the GUI, cause if you press where you think you should to see replies to something, you actually just get a text box to reply to it instead. Also claiming to move to Mastodon. So many people I followed on Twitter claimed they were going there, and that lasted like 2 weeks. Most didn't go back to Twitter, but they sure don't use Mastodon either. Mastodon just had too big a barrier to entry for most people with no stake in it. That's where Blue Sky didn't muck it up. Guys wearing 2 polo shirts and popping up both collars. You may be cool, but you will never be 4 popped collars cool. Harlem Shake. This viral dance craze was huge for a few weeks, but the hype died just as fast. The guy who started that trend is a legit musician now. Joji and Filthy Frank are the same person. When people were dressing as clowns and chasing people after dark, early 2010s. That was 2016. I'm really surprised the clowns weren't getting shot. I'm pretty sure a couple did. Whatever that, very mindful, very demure, shit was a couple of weeks ago. I still don't understand what that one was. It ended before you even knew what it was actually about, lol. I saw a kid who thought it was very mindful, very manure. Definitely prefer her version. Flappy Bird game. Didn't the creator of the game pull it from the store because he didn't want to make a popular game or something? It was the heat. Dong Nguyen was making $50,000 a day and was one of the most recognizable faces in Vietnam. He knew of far too many cases like his where someone would be known for a bag and get themselves or their family kidnapped. After it all calmed down a bit, he stepped into a more subdued role doing game dev in Hanoi. Cinnamon Challenge. That was apparently very dangerous too. All of these lasted longer than the Confederacy. Bitch-ass Confederacy.